Devil fruits are one of the most important elements in the One Piece story. However, even after more than 20 years since the manga's debut, there's still so much we don't know about devil fruits. Why does gaining unnatural abilities come at the cost of being hated by the sea? Why do the powers of a devil fruit transfer to another fruit when the user dies? Who created these mysterious fruits in the first place? These unanswered questions continue to intrigue fans and add layers of mystery to the world of One Piece. In this video, I'll try to provide my own answer to some of the big mysteries surrounding devil fruits. And let me just say, considering that the owner of this channel has experience eating a devil fruit themselves, you could say that doubles the credibility. Jokes aside, when talking about devil fruits, Nika is likely a key figure. Take a look at these two silhouettes. Both depict Nika, but there are some slight differences between them. Why is that? Vegapunk theorizes that devil fruits represent the potential for evolution driven by people's wishes, what they imagine and desire to become reality. In other words, the Nika that Luffy transforms into through the devil fruit is the result of someone's imagination brought to life. This is probably why it differs from the original form. And I believe the person who created this devil fruit may very well have been one of his ancestors. In this video, I'll start by discussing the role of Nika in the One Piece world, followed by an analysis of the origin of devil fruits. I usually try to avoid using clickbait titles or thumbnails as much as possible. However, to fully explain everything, I sometimes feel the need to include supplementary information that may seem unrelated at first. If you watch the entire video, you'll notice how everything connects in the end. That said, if you're only interested in the title topic, the origin of devil fruits, I recommend skipping ahead to this point in the video and starting from there. Also, towards the end of this video, I have an important announcement about my future activities. If you found this channel even a little bit interesting, I'd be delighted if you could stick around until the final section. According to Vegapunk's hypothesis, devil fruits, like Nika, are born from the desires of people. A prime example of this is the Buki Buki no Mi, or the Bata Bata no Mi. These things don't exist naturally. The weapons created by Baby 5 are items manufactured by humans through the processing of materials like metal. Similarly, the butter produced by Galette isn't a natural substance. It's a dairy product made by humans. The fact that these abilities are conceptualized as singular entities strongly suggests that the birth of devil fruits is inherently tied to human imagination. Now, let's focus on Nika's ability. Nika is described as a warrior of liberation whose body possesses the qualities of rubber, who fights freely according to his imagination and brings smiles to people's faces. While Nika's body has rubber-like properties, he can inexplicably produce things unrelated to rubber. When Oda-sensei was asked about this mechanism, he answered, "It's the gateway to Nika's imagination." Additionally, explained like this, free thinking gives Luffy new weapons. This suggests that the tools and abilities Nika creates through his imagination may be deeply connected to the mechanism behind the formation of devil fruits. What I want to focus on here is the idea of childlike thinking. This is because Oda-sensei himself values a childlike way of thinking. Let's look at an example from Volume 65's SBS. When asked, "Why did you make Luffy a rubber user, which seems like such a weak ability?" Oda-sensei answered, "The answer is simple. I chose the most ridiculous ability. I wouldn't have been able to stick with a protagonist who's simply strong and cool for this long. No matter how serious the story gets, Luffy stretches, inflates, or does something goofy. He always gives me a chance to mess around. That's the kind of manga I wanted to create." From this, we can see that Luffy's ability was conceived from the beginning with the idea of fighting in a silly, childlike, and ridiculous way. it seems that when his ability awakened, it simply became a more extreme version of what it already was, a goofy power taken to its fullest potential. Kaido explained Devil Fruit awakenings like this. Awakening happens when your mind and body catch up with your ability. This suggests that not only physical training, but also one's mindset plays a role in awakening. Throughout the series, Luffy has repeatedly demonstrated a childlike imagination and way of thinking. This childlike perspective seems to be a key element not only in his personality, but also in the nature of his powers. Luffy's thinking is never bound by conventional norms. This is especially evident in the techniques he comes up with. Gomu Gomu no pistol, Gomu Gomu no shield, Gomu Gomu no UFO. Water Luffy. Luffy has always used his rubber powers with the free and imaginative mindset of a child, constantly making people laugh along the way. Of course, there have been plenty of people left dumbfounded by his antics as well. There are many other devil fruits out there, but characters who eat them as children often develop abilities that go beyond conventional limits. For example, Bonnie's Toshi Toshi no Mi, Sugar's Hobi Hobi no Mi, Kuma's Nikyu Nikyu no Mi, Linlin's Soru Soru no Mi, Law's Ope Ope no Mi. This could be pure coincidence, but it seems that there's a strong connection between a childlike mindset and devil fruits. In the Wano arc, Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi finally awakened, allowing him to wield Nika's powers of freedom. According to the Five Elders, this devil fruit hadn't awakened in hundreds of years. Additionally, in the Road to Laugh Tale publication released during the One Piece break in Jump, it's mentioned, the Gomu Gomu no Mi awakened for the first time in 800 years. All right, I get it. Some of you are probably losing your minds over this and ready to flip tables. Why? Because Nika's awakening supposedly caused Emeth to awaken, and 200 years ago, Emeth also awakened and attacked Marie-Joie. If that's the case, did the official team behind Road to Laugh Tale make a mistake? Considering there hasn't been any correction, we can currently assume this statement is true. Personally, I think the awakening of Emmet 200 years ago might be related to the Ryugu Kingdom participating in the Reverie at that time. Just as Shirahoshi attended the Reverie in the Reverie arc, perhaps the Mermaid Princess of 200 years ago also attended the gathering in Marie-Joie. Just as the Sea Kings respond to the voice of the Mermaid Princess, it's possible that Emeth also responded to her voice. Alternatively, it's conceivable that a tone dial recording of Nika's rhythm existed and played a role. Considering this devil fruit hadn't awakened in 800 years, it's likely that its previous wielder was Joy Boy. And when Roger saw the treasure Joy Boy left behind, he laughed. When Roger shared his dream, Whitebeard responded with, "What are you saying, Roger? You're not a kid anymore," suggesting that Roger's dream was probably something as whimsical and imaginative as a child's. Roger's wish to have lived in Joy Boy's era further implies that Joy Boy too had a childlike, free-spirited imagination that resonated with Roger. When Yamato heard about Luffy's ultimate dream from Ace, Yamato realized it was the same thing Pirate King Roger once said. Their dreams are born from a childlike imagination, and it's this kind of thinking that could turn the world upside down. With this in mind, I believe Luffy's ability to awaken the Hito Hito no Mi, model Nika, is deeply connected to his childlike way of thinking. Hearing this, many people might have another question. Why didn't this devil fruit come to Roger? This is likely related to the birth of the Mermaid Princess. During Roger's era, the Mermaid Princess had not yet been born. That's probably why Roger asked Charlie to confirm the timeline for the Mermaid Princess's birth. Roger likely anticipated that in the era of the Mermaid Princess, the Nika's devil fruit would resurface and find its way to someone with the same childlike imagination as himself and Joy Boy. If Joy Boy, the previous user of the Nika's devil fruit, had made a promise to the mermaid princess, it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that this sentiment was passed down through the devil fruit. Roger might have wondered how the person who ate this devil fruit would manage to awaken it after 800 years. The answer, it seems, lies in the dawn of the pirate era. As mentioned earlier, the awakening of a devil fruit requires both the growth of the mind and the body. To create an environment that would cultivate such growth, Roger left his treasure on the Grand Line, guiding people toward it. In the current era, compared to Roger's time, the Grand Line is overrun with even more powerful pirates, engaging in fierce battles. The Yonko, the Shichibukai, and the Worst Generation, Luffy has faced countless obstacles along the way. It's safe to say that these relentless challenges are what allowed Luffy to strengthen his body through numerous battles and ultimately achieve his awakening. The moment Shanks confirmed Nika's awakening, he decided to go after the One Piece. This suggests that Nika's awakening was a crucial element in realizing the world Roger had envisioned. Like Roger, Luffy has a dream fueled by a childlike imagination. But have you noticed how many childlike traits have been deliberately incorporated into his character? Oda-sensei chose May 5th as Luffy's birthday. While character birthdays are sometimes decided by readers through SBS submissions, the birthdays of the 5 original Straw Hat members from the East Blue arc were officially set by Oda-sensei in Volume 5. For the other 4 members, their birthdays were tied to numbers in their names. However, Luffy's birthday, May 5th, doesn't seem to have any direct connection to him, which suggests Oda-sensei had a specific reason in mind. Originally, Luffy's birthday was thought to make more sense as May 6th, because the word Gomu can be represented by the numbers 5 and 6 in Japanese. So, why May 5th? Let's take a closer look at the Japanese calendar. In Japan, May 5th is a national holiday known as Children's Day. This suggests that the essence of the Gomu Gomu no Mi might not actually lie in rubber, but rather in the childlike freedom of imagination it represents. It's highly likely that this was decided from the very beginning. In other words, Luffy's defining trait is his childlike heart, while rubber is simply a medium that allows him to express that. Luffy's age is an important detail to consider. He started his journey at 17 years old, and after 2 years of training, he is now 19 years old. Why was the training period set at 2 years? It's likely because Oda-sensei didn't want Luffy to become an adult. In Japan, the legal age of adulthood changed to 18 in 2022. However, before that, the adult age was 20. By setting Luffy's age at 19, Oda-sensei kept him within the category of childhood, while showing that he has matured both physically and mentally. As for Nami, some fans have noticed a significant change in her personality after the 2-year time skip. One of the most striking examples is her maternal instincts. Post-time skip, Nami is frequently shown caring for children, a trait that wasn't as prominent before. This change might be because she turned 20 during the time skip, reaching the age of adulthood as it was defined in Japan at the time. This shift to adulthood could explain why she displays more nurturing and mature behaviors. Have you ever heard about the initial concept for Strong World, the first movie where Oda-sensei created the plot himself? Originally, it was planned to reveal Nami's backstory. However, Oda-sensei himself suggested revising it, saying, "It turned out to be a little too emotional and geared toward adults. I'd like to rework it into something that would excite boys and girls." Even the director commented in an interview, "Looking back, it might have been too soon to introduce the idea of revealing the secrets of a main character." At this point, it's unclear whether the plotline Oda-sensei originally created still holds relevance in the current story. However, regardless of that, it's safe to assume that there are significant secrets hidden in Nami's past or lineage. The emphasis on Nami's maternal nature might hint at the possibility that her ancestors played an important role as a mother figure in the broader narrative. At least, that's my personal interpretation. As I've explained up to this point, children is a key theme, not only for Oda-sensei, but also for the entire story of One Piece. In the world of One Piece, on the Blue Planet, there's one place that would delight children everywhere. Can you guess where it is? It's here. Sabaody Park. In other words, an amusement park. It's a place even fishman children dream of visiting. I believe that this place, which captures the imagination of children, is where the concept of the Nika's devil fruit, or devil fruit, came into being. In Sabaody, soap bubbles are gradually formed, and I think devil fruits may have been born in a similar way. When you look at the endless rows of bubbles, it almost feels like you're looking at a factory for making devil fruits. Of course, this is just a vague idea at this point, so let me explain it in more detail. The focus here is on the legendary devil fruit, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. Let's start by revisiting Who's Who's explanation of Nika, a warrior who, in ancient times, was believed by slaves to one day come and save them. A warrior who made people laugh and freed them from their suffering, whether he actually existed or was just imagined. Let's take a closer look at the Japanese word taiko. From a native speaker's perspective, this term likely refers to a time far earlier than the Joy Boy era, which was 800 years ago. In One Piece, this term has only been used in two contexts: the pictographs Enel discovered on the moon, and Little Garden, an island where dinosaurs still roam. This implies that Nika was already a legendary figure from a long-forgotten age, even to the people of 800 years ago. Later, it's likely that the devil fruit was created as a result of someone's wish. It seems that the ones who continually wished for the existence of Nika were the slaves. I believe those slaves may have been the buccaneers. Saturn said, Kuma. He was born into the slave class, a descendant of a tribe that once committed grave sins against the world, the now extinct buccaneer tribe. If you look at Kuma's hobbies in the latest Viver card, one of them is listed as daydreaming. This is likely because, during his time as a slave, he used his imagination to escape the pain he endured. After all, no matter the situation, no one can control what someone thinks in their own mind. Similarly, the ancestors of the buccaneers were probably also slaves who used their imagination to cope with their suffering. I believe that imagination is what eventually took form as the Nika's devil fruit. As for why Nika's form is white and has a rubber-like body, I believe it's because the buccaneer boy was near the sunlight tree Eve. The natural resin from that tree likely inspired the image of rubber, as it resembles bubbles. In fact, Oda-sensei appeared as a guest on the Fuji TV program Arashi Tsubo broadcast on August 24, 2020, where he personally revealed his top 3 favorite scenes from One Piece. Does anyone know which scenes he picked? This is the scene he chose as his second favorite. Yes, the moment where Robin says, "Ew, it's so sticky," and smears the slime all over Usopp. The fact that Oda-sensei chose this as his second favorite scene suggests there could be a significant hidden clue within it. For reference, the scene he picked as third place was the banquet scene in Sky Island. Luffy's silhouette in this scene bears a striking resemblance to Nika's. I'll explain this later, but I believe this scene is also deeply connected to the appearance of the Klabautermann. That's why I believe the tree resin that produces these bubbles holds an important meaning tied to the very foundation of the story. Or perhaps, in the past, when the sunlight tree Eve revealed itself above ground in this area, someone may have seen its white sap, similar to the latex from a rubber tree. This could explain why Nika's form is white and his body is rubber-like. In contrast, the Nika said to have existed in ancient times likely resembled the silhouette mentioned by Who's Who. This means that the current white, rubber-bodied Nika we see is actually based on the imagination of the buccaneer boy who created the Nika fruit. At that time, Luffy had a robe-like cape and was wearing regular pants. However, the Nika described in Who's Who's explanation did not have a robe but wore something resembling a skirt. During the Egghead arc, when Luffy transformed into Nika, Dory and Brogy asked him, "How do you know the form of the god from Elbaf? That outfit." This suggests that the version of Nika passed down in Elbaf comes directly from the Nika brought to life by the buccaneer boy's imagination. Furthermore, since this boy imagined that Nika can manifest anything he imagines, the current Nika, embodied through Luffy, can suddenly pull out items like goggles or helmets to use in battle. Now, let me finally share my theory on how devil fruits were created. In the Punk Hazard arc, after Smiley died, we saw the devil fruit power it possessed leave its body and transfer into another fruit. This suggests that devil fruits don't grow on trees like ordinary fruit, but instead their essence lies in a parasitic entity referred to as a devil that inhabits a fruit. Jabra explained it like this. Here's the deal about devil fruit users. They've got a devil living inside them. For example, if I go near another devil fruit, the devil inside it will jump out and fight the devil inside me. And then, boom! My body explodes! This is a rumor about what happens when someone eats more than one devil fruit. However, I think it's a fairly accurate interpretation of the concept. I believe this idea is depicted in Saturn's explosion scene, which serves as an example of this phenomenon. In the scene where Saturn sees the Iron Giant 200 years ago, he is depicted with the same appearance as he has now. This suggests that he has maintained his current appearance for at least 200 years. This likely means that when Saturn was around 60 years old, he was granted immortality by Imu. However, it seems that Imu recently withdrew that power, causing Saturn's body to experience a rapid onset of the aging that should have accumulated over the past 200 years. While much about Imu's abilities remains a mystery, it's clear that Imu has lived for at least 800 years, as he has knowledge of Joy Boy and Lily. This implies that his immortality may be the result of the Ope Ope no Mi's eternal youth surgery, or some other kind of power. The fact that Saturn begged for mercy from Imu in his final moments further suggests that Imu has the ability to grant or revoke immortality at will, even among the 5 elders. But let's focus not only on Saturn aging, but also on the fact that he exploded. Why did he explode? I believe this explosion is tied to the phenomenon that occurs when someone consumes 2 devil fruits. Yeah, it perfectly aligns with the rumor Jabra mentioned. Saturn demonstrated the ability to heal all his injuries, transform into a spider, use poison, paralyze Sanji's body, and summon the other 5 elders with a mysterious magic circle. The reason Saturn could use these multiple, seemingly unnatural abilities isn't because he simply ate multiple devil fruits, but rather because he found a way to harbor the powers of multiple devils within his body. According to Vegapunk, eating a devil fruit grants a power that contradicts the natural order, which comes with the punishment of being hated by the sea, the mother of nature. Additionally, Lucci speculates that the reason a body shatters after consuming more than one devil fruit is that it becomes unable to withstand the curse. It's likely that Saturn, through some unknown method, possessed abilities comparable to multiple devil fruits, but he was protected by his immortality. However, following his recent failure, Imu may have revoked his immortality. This would have caused 2 things to happen. First, his body aged rapidly. Second, the explosion occurred to balance the scales, for the unnatural powers he had used up until now, which violated nature itself. It seems that it's a fundamental rule that no one can harbor more than one devil within their body, as it goes against the laws of nature. The term Gorosei literally translates to 5 elder stars. In both a literal and metaphorical sense, Saturn could indeed be said to have become a star. To put it simply, I believe the true nature of the demon is something akin to the Klabautermann. It likely shares a similar mechanism to how the spirit of a ship forms when it is cherished and cared for. Let's take a closer look at the conversation between Vegapunk and Kuma. Vegapunk made the following remark. A scholar from the West Blue once said this: humans lose 21 grams of mass after death. In other words, that is the weight of the human soul. One thing is certain, souls do exist. This dialogue about the soul is closely tied to what Vegapunk mentioned just prior. Omoi. I haven't yet checked how the English version translates this, but the Japanese word omoi used here refers to the emotions or ideas a person holds within their heart. This suggests there is a profound connection between human thought processes and the existence of the soul. The word omoi was something even Kalgara emphasized, highlighting that the concept of soul also exists within their culture. The Klabautermann came into existence as a response to the feelings of the Straw Hat crew. On Skypiea, something mysterious happened. The mast of the Mary, which was supposed to be broken, was somehow repaired. What's more, it wasn't a flying model or some other version. It was restored to its original form. This clearly indicates that the Klabautermann manifested itself to respond to the crew's desire to continue their adventures, fulfilling their collective wish. It's likely that similar mysterious phenomena occurred in the past of the One Piece world, and at the center of these occurrences is the concept of wood. The One Piece world features many mysterious trees. For example, the white tree on Jaya from 400 years ago is said to house the spirits of ancestors. There's also the radish-like tree on Rusukaina, which, according to Rayleigh, animals avoid completely. This could very well be linked to the souls of past people. Additionally, there's the whale tree in the Mokomo dukedom. Roger, Odin, and Momonosuke all seemed to sense some kind of power emanating from it. The point is, these special trees appear to hold the thoughts and feelings of people in the form of souls. And let's not forget, the Mary, which was inhabited by the Klabautermann, was a wooden ship. This connection between wood, souls, and the realization of human desires seems to run deep in the One Piece world. There's a legend in our world that speaks of trees inhabited by spirits born from human thoughts. Have you ever heard of it? One of the most iconic examples of such a tree is the banyan tree. Known as a wishing tree, it is said to absorb people's wishes and make them come true. Its large, sturdy branches create a comforting shade cherished by many as a place of relaxation. Interestingly, in the local Maldivian language, this tree is called Nika. Similarly, in Japanese folklore, there is a spirit called Kodama, believed to inhabit trees. This spirit can be likened to the concept of fairies in Western culture. It seems likely that Oda-sensei drew upon this legend of wishes residing in trees when crafting the world of One Piece. I believe the essence of devil fruits lies in the spirits that inhabit the fruit. This leads me to theorize that these devils were originally called something else: fairies. In other words, devil fruits were likely once referred to as fairy fruits. There's a certain irony in the fact that the Tontata tribe, though not actual fairies, was responsible for producing smiles, which are not actual devil fruits. Furthermore, Frankie once referred to Klabauterman as a fairy that inhabits only ships truly cherished by their crew. In essence, the embodiment of the ship itself. It's plausible that fairies born from the strong wishes of people originally took up residence in these mystical trees. The fact that Vegapunk's green blood, which replicates devil fruit abilities, and Caesar's sad liquid are both green seems significant. It might reflect the essence of devil fruits as spirits residing in trees, symbolized by the color green. If the essence of devil fruits lies in them being spirits inhabiting trees, it might provide an answer to the long-standing question, why can't devil fruit users swim? The biggest clue comes from something Aramaki said. There are some nuanced differences in the translated version, so here's a direct translation from the Japanese text. The forest itself is, like the sea, apparent to all life, a true embodiment of Logia. In the world of One Piece, forests and seas are considered the parents of life, essentially the two greatest forces of nature. This implies that eating a devil fruit means gaining unnatural powers from a tree spirit. In exchange, this makes the user powerless in the sea, which represents the opposing natural force. On the other hand, the one rumored to have gained powers from a sea spirit is likely Davy Jones, said to still roam the depths of the ocean. This might explain why he is only able to wander within the sea. Davy Jones is said to have been literally cursed by a devil. In essence, this is fundamentally similar to the devil fruits, but it belongs to a completely different aspect of nature, making the two inherently incompatible. In my video about Blackbeard, I discussed the possibility that he could be a descendant of Davy Jones. If this is true, it could offer one explanation for why Blackbeard is capable of harboring multiple devil fruit powers. The Weaver card information up until the Egghead arc revealed that Blackbeard was born in Shadeport. If his ancestor truly was Davy Jones, someone who could only survive in the sea, it makes sense that Blackbeard would have been born in a port. If Blackbeard has a spirit of the sea within him, similar to Davy Jones, then technically he should only be able to survive in the ocean. However, by incorporating a spirit of the tree, it might have enabled him to live on land as well. If that's the case, it would mean he acquired a different devil fruit even before obtaining the Yami Yami no Mi. Normally, consuming multiple devil fruits would overwhelm the body with curses, causing it to explode and scatter into pieces, yet this hasn't happened to Blackbeard. It's possible that the spirit of the sea within him naturally cancels out the curse of the spirit of the tree, allowing these opposing forces to coexist. This balance might explain why he can wield the powers of multiple devil fruits. That said, the existence of this sea spirit still requires further investigation. I'll explore this topic more deeply in another video. Let's return to the story of the spirits dwelling in trees. I believe that the concept of spirits residing in trees was, in a sense, brought to life and embodied by none other than the Buccaneer tribe. The hint lies in a certain Japanese ritual related to these spirits. In Japan, during a summer period called Obon, there is a custom of welcoming the souls of ancestors who return home, offering them prayers, and then sending them off again. This process of honoring the spirits is done through a communal dance event called Bon Odori, where everyone dances to traditional rhythms. Interestingly, in the world of One Piece, there is a strong connection between souls and music. First and foremost, let's look at this particular scene. When Hiyori's music resonates, it triggers a reaction in Enma, the sword that once belonged to Odin. By the way, Odin had a unique hairstyle that looked like a plate was sitting on his head. Yamato even tried this out on Momonosuke. This plate is also called Obon in Japanese, sharing the same name as the Obon period I just mentioned, where spirits are welcomed through the Bon Odori dance. Oda-sensei's decision to give Odin a hairstyle resembling an Obon, which might initially seem random or nonsensical, is likely tied to Odin's significant role as a character deeply connected to themes of spirit and music. By the way, Bentham's nickname, Bon Clay, likely comes from the word Bon in Bon Odori. Just like Odin, Bentham also performs his own unique style of dance. Odin danced his distinctive dance to save the people, while his daughter, in contrast, played the shamisen. When Odin heard Hiyori playing the song Tsukihime, he told her, "Play this at my funeral." This was probably his way of reassuring her, implying that even in death, she could feel his soul through music. And indeed, in his final moments, Odin declares, "My soul will live on." And I believe it's music that allowed these spirits to be drawn out of the trees and transformed into souls. Brooke himself said something in the past. When music is played, it resonates more deeply with people's souls. By playing music, the spirits residing in these trees likely took shape as souls. In fact, the visions Brooke showed bear a certain resemblance to the scenes of Bon Odori. Since Wano country is modeled after Japan, it's fitting that a festival similar to Bon Odori takes place there. This is seen on the night of the Fire Festival. During this event, they have a unique custom: the skyboats. These are vessels on which people write their wishes and send them off to their departed ancestors. This tradition might have stemmed from the experience of music bringing forth people's feelings and giving them tangible form in the past. Actually, we've already seen an example in One Piece where human emotions took on a physical form. It happened quite literally with a ship that flew into the sky. After the Straw Hat crew reached Sky Island via the Knockup Stream, they danced around a fire together with the Cloud Wolves on the island's Verth. This particular scene later caused quite a stir as its imagery closely resembled the silhouette of Nika. The following morning, Usopp went to the altar where the Going Merry was docked, and he caught a glimpse of a shadow that resembled the Klabautermann. It's likely that this sudden appearance was linked to the dancing that had occurred the previous night. Although the specifics might differ slightly, it's worth noting that Emeth also awoke upon hearing Nika's unique rhythm. This demonstrates that music in the One Piece world has a special ability to move souls and bring things to life. The Buccaneer tribe, in particular, inherited Nika's rhythm, which seems to have been passed down as a ritual to summon Nika into the world. Interestingly, when Kuma, who had supposedly lost his consciousness, appeared at Egghead to help Bonnie, Vegapunk remarked, "Scientifically, it makes no sense. Could it really be true? The true strength of the Buccaneers isn't just their physical power. Perhaps Vegapunk was hinting at the possibility that they once created a devil fruit that could manifest people's wishes. In Japanese, devil fruit is called Akuma no Mi. Yes, Akuma. This could mean that Kuma's ancestors might have been involved in the creation of these fruits, which wouldn't be all that surprising. I believe that the creation of the very first devil fruit involved a buccaneer boy and his childlike imagination. Just as Kuma, having lost his personality, continued to protect the Thousand Sunny at Sabayoti Archipelago due to his programming, this buccaneer boy was likely forced to work as a slave near Sabayoti, or close to its parent tree, the Eve Tree. Slavery first appeared in One Piece at Sabayoti, and I believe this place has a deep-rooted history of slavery. Underneath it lies Fishman Island. and according to Who's Who, the history of the fishmen is closely intertwined with slavery. The boy, enslaved in this area, likely sought salvation from Nika, the warrior of his tribe's legends. In his imagination, he must have endlessly envisioned what kind of warrior Nika was, and one day, as he danced with a unique rhythm, wishing for Nika to save him, a spirit-like entity appeared before him. A scientist at the time, witnessing this phenomenon, likely studied the spirit extensively and discovered something akin to lineage factors. This scientist may have been the very god capable of manipulating lineage factors, as mentioned by Yonji. In fact, Sanji and his brothers were born with altered lineage factors, resulting in a spiral-shaped eyebrow that differs slightly from Judge's. Furthermore, when Sanji's latent scientific abilities awaken, the direction of his eyebrows changes, a phenomenon mirrored in the spiral patterns found on devil fruits. This connection strongly suggests that devil fruits are products of lineage factor manipulation. For further evidence, take smile fruits, which Caesar created using SAD. They do not display spiral patterns, but instead have circular designs, clear signs of a failed product. Now, what about the artificial devil fruit created by Vegapunk? While its fruit has circular patterns, the stem displays a spiral shape. When Momonosuke consumed it, he gained powers nearly identical to Kaido's. This implies that when lineage factor manipulation succeeds, spiral patterns emerge somewhere on the fruit or its components. In conclusion, I believe that the spiral patterns on devil fruits are formed when something akin to the lineage factors of a spirit of the forest integrates with the fruit. As I mentioned earlier, the spirits dwelling in trees, like the spirits said to reside in the banyan trees or Japanese trees, are believed to be born from people's wishes. After all, even Vegapunk has the technology to peek into Kuma's memories through his paw ability, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to assume that such feats were possible during a period of advanced civilization. Here's a key conversation between Kuma and Vegapunk. Your ability transmits signals from peripheral nerves wirelessly. Then what about thoughts, images, and memories? They too are signals emitted by nerve cells. It's likely that using these visions as a blueprint, the scientists of that time developed a system that could manifest abilities into reality. Eventually, they succeeded in extracting the essence of these spirits and developed a method to infuse that essence into existing fruits instead of trees. When someone consumed one of these fruits, the spirit, born from the wishes and imagination that created it, would materialize as a power, granting its abilities to the user. One of the technologies likely used in this process is what Vegapunk has been striving for: the technology to achieve infinite energy supply. I asked you this question before in another video. What type of devil fruit can Vegapunk not replicate? It's the Logia type. Logia type users can supply infinite energy as long as their stamina holds out, but Vegapunk himself admitted that even with green blood, replicating Logia abilities is extremely difficult. This inability is probably connected to the fact that Vegapunk has yet to perfect the Mother Flame, the technology that could achieve infinite energy supply. In other words, it's reasonable to assume that the scientists of that time were able to create Logia-type devil fruits precisely because they possessed the technology to supply infinite energy. Finally, the fruit infused with the essence of the spirit born from the Buccaneer Boy's imagination and dance was completed through the hands of scientists. By eating this fruit, Joy Boy likely gained the power of Nika. It's even possible, in my personal opinion, that this Buccaneer Boy was Joy Boy himself as a child. Then, the scientist who created the first devil fruit likely wanted to use the free imagination of children to create various other devil fruits. To do this, he built facilities to gather children near the Yarukuman mangroves, which are like followers of the sunlight tree Eve. This facility is what we now know as Sabaody Park. At the park, the scientist listened to the children's wishes. Things like, "Wouldn't it be nice if this existed?" or "Imagine if that could happen." Using their innocent desires, he brought to life the spirits within Eve through the same ritual the Buccaneer boy used. This process led to the creation of devil fruits, or as they might have been called then, fairy fruits. In the world of One Piece, there is also a drink referred to as a fairy. The giants use this term to describe absinthe, a type of alcohol that can cause hallucinations when consumed. The idea of seeing things that shouldn't exist in reality shares a common thread with devil fruits. Perhaps this is why the drink, which offers a similar kind of pseudo-experience to devil fruits, came to be known as the Green Fairy. The creation of devil fruits through advanced science may have been a groundbreaking achievement, but it's only natural that some people were opposed to it. Most likely, those individuals were the ones who established the current world government. He, who likely inherited that will, also said this: "Progress is unnecessary." At the time, the Don Quixote family and other royalty, who lived comfortably by exploiting slaves, likely saw this progress as a threat to their way of life. If the ability to manifest people's imaginations through the power of spirits and advanced science were to become a reality, the luxurious lives of the ruling class would no longer be sustainable. That's why the royals who feared this progress banded together to form a temporary alliance and decided to wage war against the Great Kingdom. To demonize this ability, they labeled the spirits that manifest human imagination as devils. And the Buccaneer tribe, who were central to this process, were condemned as sinners and erased from history. So this is my general hypothesis about the birth of devil fruits. Is anyone still watching at this point? If you're here, you may have noticed that today's video title is a bit more intense than usual. Whether this video lives up to that title isn't for me to decide. That's up to you, the viewers. If it doesn't seem to resonate well, I plan to switch it back to a more standard, low-key title. I genuinely hope to hear your honest opinions, without any sugarcoating. On this channel, I've made a point not to outright ask for likes, mainly because I value genuine feedback and want to create content that truly connects. It would mean a lot if we could grow this video together with your input. There's actually one more thing I need to share with all of you. This channel has always been run by a native Japanese speaker, which has allowed us to analyze the original One Piece with attention to even the smallest nuances. To take things to the next level and add more credibility to this channel, I've decided to start creating my own story. While I enjoy making art, I'm not skilled at drawing dynamic characters or creating panel-based art like manga. So, once the story is complete, I plan to look for someone to handle the illustration. Ideally, I'd like to collaborate with someone I've met through this channel. The story isn't finished yet, so there's no official announcement at this point, but I might have an update for you by the end of next year. Who knows? Maybe we'll even take a shot at submitting it to Shueisha together. It could be an exciting challenge. Regardless, none of this would be possible without your support and viewership. I'm deeply grateful, and I hope you'll continue to cheer on this channel. One day, I hope to meet all of you as a manga creator.